The great palace of Arvelion stood high above the shining city, its silver towers reaching toward the skies filled with twin suns. Inside the palace, silence ruled the long crystal halls. The sound of footsteps was rare, and the people moved slowly, their faces carrying sorrow. In the heart of the palace, in the medical wing surrounded by glowing walls of healing light, a young alien princess lay dying. Her name was Princess Leora, the youngest daughter of the royal family of the Zalari Empire. Leora had once been the hope of her people. Her presence brought joy wherever she went, because she carried a rare gift of light that shone from her body. But now that light had faded. Her skin, once glowing with silver brightness, looked pale and dull. Her chest rose and fell in shallow breaths, each one weaker than the last. The most skilled healers of the Empire had tried to save her. They had used medicine, ancient rituals, and the most advanced technology known across the stars. But nothing worked. The princess was slipping away, and no one could stop it. King Vale, her father, stood at the foot of her crystal bed. He was a tall, strong ruler, feared and respected across 100 star systems. Yet at this moment he looked like a broken man. His hands were behind his back, but they trembled. His face was heavy with grief. "She has only hours," he said softly, his deep voice filled with sorrow. "Her energy is leaving her." Queen Solara, his wife, stood close by. She covered her mouth with her hand to stop herself from crying out loud. She had always been known for her grace and strength, but now tears rolled silently down her cheeks. Beside her stood Leora's elder siblings. They were silent too, but their glowing eyes were filled with pain. None of them could accept that their sister was about to die, yet they could see the truth in her weak body. Around them, attendants and royal guards stood in silence. No one dared to speak. The air itself felt heavy, like a shadow of despair pressing down on every heart in the room. At that moment, someone unexpected appeared at the doorway. A human soldier named Daniel Reeves had been walking through the palace corridors, carrying out his usual duties as part of the Alliance delegation. Humans were still a young race in the galactic community, often seen as inexperienced compared to the ancient species like the Zalari. Most aliens considered humans fragile, short-lived, and ordinary. But as Daniel walked past the guarded chamber, something strange had happened. He felt an unusual pull inside his chest, like a strong instinct telling him to stop. He looked at the guarded doorway, and for reasons he could not explain, his feet carried him closer. The guards crossed their weapons and blocked him. "You cannot enter," one of them said. But before Daniel could reply, Queen Solara lifted her hand. Her voice was calm, though filled with sadness. "Let him pass. I sense something unusual." The guards looked shocked, but they obeyed. Daniel stepped inside the chamber. At once he felt the sorrow that filled the room. His eyes went to the crystal bed where Princess Leora lay. He had never seen her before, but the sight of her broke his heart. She looked fragile, like a candle about to burn out. Daniel was only a soldier. He had no knowledge of alien medicine, no power to heal. Yet something inside him urged him forward. His heart pounded, but not from fear. It was from compassion. He could not stand to see someone so young, so innocent, fading away. He looked at the royal family. Their eyes were on him, some filled with doubt, others with anger. King Vale's gaze was sharp and heavy like a test. Still, Daniel stepped closer. His voice was quiet but steady. "I don't know why I'm here, but I feel I can help." Before anyone could stop him, Daniel reached out his hand. He touched the princess's hand gently, his rough human skin meeting her cold, fading light. The room froze. Every person held their breath. For a few seconds, nothing happened. The silence grew heavier. Then suddenly a faint glow spread from the place where his hand met hers. It was soft at first, like a tiny spark. Then it grew brighter, spreading across her arm, her chest, and her whole body. Princess Leora's chest rose with a deep breath, stronger than before. Her pale skin began to shimmer again with silver light. The crystal bed beneath her flickered as if responding to new energy. Gasps filled the chamber. Her elder brother stepped back in disbelief. "Impossible," he whispered. The queen covered her lips with her hand, her tears now mixed with hope. "By the stars. She is healing." King Vale stared, his expression torn between suspicion and awe. His deep voice shook. "What have you done, human?" Daniel himself was shocked. He felt warmth rushing from his hand into her body. It drained his strength, yet filled him with strange purpose. "I don't know," he admitted softly. "I just wanted her to live." The glow grew brighter. Slowly, the princess's eyelids fluttered. Her eyes opened, pale silver and weak but alive. She looked around, her gaze stopping at the human holding her hand. Her lips curved into a faint smile. "Mother, father," she whispered, her voice fragile but filled with life. "I'm still here?" The royal family cried out in astonishment. Queen Solara rushed forward, kneeling by the bed. Tears flowed down her cheeks as she touched her daughter's face. "Leora, my child." The court was in chaos, whispers filling the chamber. No healer had succeeded, yet this human soldier had done the impossible with a single touch. The air was filled with wonder, fear, and confusion. Daniel pulled back slightly, but the princess tightened her fingers around his hand. He looked at her, unsure of what had just happened. His heart raced, but there was no regret in his actions. King Vial stepped forward, his tall shadow falling over Daniel. His eyes were sharp, demanding answers. "Who are you truly?" he asked. Daniel met his gaze. His voice was quiet, almost humble, but strong. "I am no one special. Just a soldier who could not stand to watch her die." But the royal family, the guards, and the attendants all knew at that moment that he was something far more. The impossible had happened. The dying princess had been brought back to life by a human, and in the silence that followed, whispers began to spread. Whispers that would soon escape the walls of the palace and travel across the stars. The galaxy would not remain the same. The chamber of the palace was still filled with silence after the miracle. Everyone stared at the human soldier, Daniel Reeves, as though they were seeing something impossible. Princess Leora's chest rose and fell in stronger breaths, her silver glow returning slowly like dawn breaking over a dark horizon. She held tightly to Daniel's hand, refusing to let go. The queen's tears streamed as she whispered, "Our daughter breathes again. The light in her eyes has returned." She looked at Daniel, her voice trembling with emotion. "You have done what no healer, no machine, no power of our people could achieve." The courtiers whispered among themselves in disbelief. Some bowed their heads in silent thanks, while others looked with suspicion at the human soldier. "How can this be?" one elder muttered. "A mortal of Earth, a young race touching the very essence of the Zalari?" King Vial raised his hand, silencing everyone. His tall figure moved closer to the bed. His deep voice shook the air. "This is no small thing. To heal one of royal blood is not possible for an outsider. Tell me, human, what is your secret?" Daniel swallowed hard. His body felt drained, but he stood straight, meeting the king's piercing gaze. "I don't know, Your Majesty. I only reached out because I couldn't watch her die. That is the truth." The king's eyes narrowed. He searched Daniel's face as if trying to uncover a hidden lie. Finally, he turned back to his daughter. Seeing the life returning to her cheeks softened even his iron features. He laid a hand gently on her forehead, his voice low with hope. "Leora, my child, you live." The princess's silver eyes blinked slowly. She smiled faintly. "Yes, father. I feel warmth. It is like fire and light entering me. It came from him." She looked at Daniel, her small hand still locked around his. The court erupted again with shocked whispers. The queen rose to her feet and declared firmly, "This man must not be treated as ordinary. There is something in him that our empire must understand." But not everyone agreed. A royal advisor stepped forward, his robe flowing behind him. His eyes were sharp with suspicion. "Majesties, this is dangerous. What if it is not a gift but a curse? What if he steals her life to give her false strength? Humans are not known for such powers." Another voice spoke in doubt. "Perhaps it is a trick. Perhaps he carries some hidden device." Daniel shook his head firmly. "No, I swear on my life I carry no device. I don't understand it either. I only know that when I touched her, something inside me reached out." The queen placed her hand on Daniel's shoulder. "I believe him," she said with quiet strength. "The bond I saw was pure, not false." The king turned away from the noise of the court. "Enough," he commanded, his voice echoing through the chamber. The whispers fell silent instantly. "We will not argue in front of the child who has returned from the edge of death. This matter will be examined in private." He looked at Daniel again. "You will remain within the palace. Until we know more, you are under my watch." Daniel bowed slightly. "I understand, Your Majesty." The princess tugged weakly at his hand. Her voice was soft but firm enough for all to hear. "Please, do not take him away." When his hand touched mine, I felt safe. I felt alive again. The king hesitated. His stern eyes softened as he looked at his daughter's pleading face. He nodded once. "Then he shall stay for now." The queen smiled through her tears. Blessed be the stars. That night the palace was filled with whispers. The news spread like fire across the royal halls and then out into the city below. Servants carried the story, guards spoke of what they had seen, and before long the whole capital knew. The dying princess had been healed by a human. In the streets of Arvelion, people gathered in circles debating in excitement and fear. Is it true? One merchant asked. A human soldier saved the princess with only his hand. Another shook his head. Impossible. No human could hold such power. Yet another leaned closer, voice filled with awe. Perhaps it is true. Perhaps humans carry a hidden gift we never knew. The rumor spread further. Across the Empire's star systems, messages raced through the network. Allies and enemies alike heard the tale. Some laughed, others were curious, and some grew wary. If humans possessed power unknown even to the ancient Zalari, what might it mean for the balance of the galaxy? Inside the palace, Daniel sat in a quiet chamber prepared for him by the royal family. He could not sleep. His hand still tingled with warmth as though a flame rested under his skin. He stared at it, whispering to himself, "What happened to me? Why me?" Suddenly there was a soft sound at the door. It slid open and Princess Leora herself entered, supported by her elder brother. She was still weak, but her glow had returned enough to walk slowly. Her brother guided her to a chair across from Daniel. Daniel stood quickly, bowing awkwardly. "Your Highness, you should be resting," she smiled faintly. "I wanted to see you. I wanted to thank you with my own words." Her brother, tall and proud, spoke sternly. "I am still not certain of you, human, but my sister insists, so I will allow this meeting." Daniel nodded respectfully. "I understand." Leora reached out her small hand again. "When you touched me, I felt something beyond medicine. It was not just healing of the body. It was healing of the spirit. Where does such power come from?" Daniel shook his head. "I don't know, humans. We don't have powers like you. We only have will. We fight for each other." "Maybe it was only my will that reached you." Her silver eyes studied him with wonder. "Then perhaps the human will is stronger than the galaxy ever imagined." Her brother frowned but could not deny the truth before him. In the high tower of the palace, King Vale met with his advisors. His voice was heavy with thought. "If this is true, then humans carry a secret even they do not know. This could change everything. The empires may see it as hope, or as danger." The advisor who doubted earlier bowed. "Majesty, we must be careful. Some will want to destroy him. Others will want to claim him. We must decide how he is to be guarded." The king looked out over the glowing city. "He saved my daughter. For that I owe him a debt no throne can measure. But make no mistake, if this gift is real, it will bring storms across the stars." He clenched his fists, his voice low. "The galaxy will soon know the name of Daniel Reeves." The days following Princess Leora's recovery changed the entire palace. Where once there had been silence and sorrow, now there was hope. Courtiers moved with new energy. Servants whispered with joy, and the people outside filled the streets in celebration. Lanterns floated in the sky above the city, glowing bright as the citizens honored their princess's return to life. But hope was not the only thing that spread. Rumors grew faster than light. Stories of the human soldier who touched the dying princess and restored her reached every corner of the Zalari Empire. Some called him a miracle worker, some a hidden prophet, and some whispered that he was a danger who must be watched. Daniel Reeves, the soldier who had never sought attention, suddenly found himself at the center of everything. Wherever he walked in the palace, guards saluted him with respect. Servants bowed as he passed. Yet he felt no pride, only confusion. He did not understand what had happened. He was a simple man, not a healer, not a leader. All he knew was that he could not stand to see Leora die, and in that moment his heart had acted before his mind. The royal family treated him with a new kind of honor. Queen Solara often visited him, thanking him again and again. Princess Leora spent hours in his company, asking him questions about Earth, about humanity, about what it meant to live as an ordinary person without power or titles. But King Vael remained watchful. He was grateful, yes, but also cautious. He saw not just a miracle, but a storm gathering in the distance. He knew that other empires, once they heard of this power, would not stay silent. They would come either to test it or to claim it for themselves. And he was right. Only a week later, an envoy arrived from the neighboring Draven Dominion, a powerful empire known for its pride and suspicion of humans. Their ships entered Zalari space without warning, and their leader, Lord Arak, requested immediate audience with the king. In the grand hall, the Draven envoy stood tall in his black armor, his voice sharp. "We have heard the tale," he declared. "A human soldier heals the dying princess with nothing but his touch. This cannot be ignored." King Viel answered calmly, though his tone carried warning. "It is true. He saved my daughter's life. For that he is under my protection." Lord Arak's eyes narrowed. "Or perhaps he carries a weapon hidden inside him. Perhaps it is a trick to make humans seem powerful in the eyes of the galaxy. I demand to see this man myself." Daniel was summoned to the hall. He walked in quietly, standing tall but humble. The Draven Lord studied him like a predator. "So this is the human," he said with disdain. "Show me your power. Heal one of my warriors. Prove it is real." Daniel shook his head. "I don't know how it happened. I can't call it at will. It wasn't a weapon, it was compassion." The Draven scoffed. "Compassion? That is weakness." Princess Leora, who had entered beside her mother, spoke firmly despite her gentle voice. "It was not weakness. It was strength of the heart. That is something your empire has forgotten." Gasps spread through the hall at her boldness. Lord Arak's face darkened with anger. But before he could speak, King Vale rose from his throne. His eyes burned with power. "You will not insult my daughter or the man who saved her. Leave now, or face the wrath of the Zalari fleet." The envoy left in silence, but the threat remained. The galaxy would not stop watching. That night, Daniel stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The stars glittered above, countless worlds shining like jewels in the dark. His heart was heavy. "I never wanted this," he whispered to himself. "I only wanted to help." Princess Leora approached, her silver glow soft in the night. She stood beside him, her voice gentle. "Sometimes the greatest changes begin with small acts of kindness. You touched me because you cared, not because you sought power. That is why it worked." Daniel turned to her, troubled. "But what if it brings war? What if the galaxy fights over what happened?" She looked at him with calm strength. "Then we must show them it is not a weapon. It is a truth about humanity. You carry something most of them have forgotten. The power to love without reason, to risk without reward. That is your gift. That is why I live today." Her words eased his heart, though the weight of responsibility remained. The next morning, King Vial summoned Daniel to the council chamber. The royal family and the highest advisors were present. The king's voice was steady, filled with both respect and warning. "Daniel Reeves, soldier of Earth, you have done the impossible. You gave life back to my daughter. For that, you will always be honored in this empire. But know this, your act has changed the galaxy. Some will see you as a savior. Others will see you as a threat. Already empires are watching. Already alliances are shifting." He paused, his eyes firm. "I will protect you as long as you remain under my roof. But you must prepare yourself. The galaxy does not forgive miracles easily." Daniel bowed his head. "I never asked for this. But if my act means something, then I will not run from it." Queen Solara smiled softly. "You have the heart of a true guardian." Princess Leora stepped forward. Her eyes shone with light brighter than before. "Father, mother, brothers, hear me. I live because of him. His strength is not in weapons, but in spirit. We must show the galaxy that this is not a danger, but a hope." Her words touched every person in the room. Even the advisors who had doubted began to see the truth. King Vial stood tall, lifting his hand. "So it shall be. From this day, the name Daniel Reeves will be known not only as a soldier of Earth, but as the protector of Princess Leora, friend of the Zalari, and symbol of hope for all who doubt humanity." The announcement was made to the people, and cheers echoed through the empire. Lanterns filled the skies once more, and the story of the human who healed the princess spread even farther. Across the galaxy, people spoke of it not only as a miracle, but as a turning point. Some empires grew fearful, others grew inspired, and slowly the image of humanity began to change. Daniel remained humble, always saying the same words to those who asked about the secret of his power. It was not power. It was compassion. That is all. But to the galaxy, compassion was more powerful than any weapon. And so the story of the human soldier and the alien princess became legend, a legend that would echo through generations as the moment the universe discovered that sometimes the simplest human touch could change the stars.